Hello and welcome to the jury roundtable for 1984 Deathly Hallows. We are here with most of the jurors. This night is going to be utilized to talk about the final three of 1984 Deathly Hallows, which is Crispy, Eric, and Jeremy. The three of them have made it to the final three, which is something that obviously the jurors were unable to do. But the fun part about this is that you guys are the ones that have the say in who wins this game. So as of now, we do not have a winner of part one, two, or three yet. So we are going in with a blank slate there. They will be competing in that later this week. So how tonight works is this is your guys' time to discuss what you want to know about the house guests, learn new information that you haven't yet gotten, discuss what you want in your winner. So we can either format this as an open discussion or we could go finalist by finalist by finalist, whatever you guys want to do. It's your time to do that. So I don't know if you guys have opinions on how we want to go about this, but it's up to you guys. So I'm gonna turn the floor over. I might pop in and ask some questions to lead the conversation or to pull you guys back in. Obviously, tonight is for us to talk about the finalists. As Tyler mentioned before the stream started, we can talk about each other later at the reunion. But yes, I'm going to turn the floor over to our wonderful jurors.
All right, just to start off, I miss Tiny Hands. Very much miss Tiny Hands. Sorry, I know you literally just said keep it on track. How do you guys want to do this? Do you guys want to do jury by finalist by finalist?
Sure.
I would prefer that, yes, actually.
I think it'd probably be more constructive. Can we start with Crispy and Jeremy first and then get to Eric?
I have
or we can do it the other way around.
We could do Crispy Jeremy first.
I just want to gauge because I mean I have opinions. So whichever way we go, I think.
I'm fine with Crispy. Crispy Jeremy first, and maybe while we're talking, we can kind of go juror by juror also. Just make sure everyone gets their words in. Some of us might not be comfortable speaking out while a lot of people are speaking. So that's what I think. So
I like that.
I think we should probably go also in order, like reverse order, because I think that like people like Rose and Jackson have a lot more insight on things than like myself, Mikey, and Jen do. So I think maybe you'll be able to fill in gaps, and then we'll have things that we'll be able to take that info and fill in, and then we'll have, fuller, complete thoughts on things than you guys probably,
I agree with that. I was going to say I'm not going to have very much to contribute as far as the jury phase of the game goes, and I feel like that's where a lot of the meat of this game was. So I'm willing to like kind of sit back and listen at first, take in what I need to take in, and then go from there. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that sounds great. In that case, Rose, I think you should start us off with Jeremy. Why not? Start with Jeremy.
Okay. So in terms of Jeremy, like they must have played a great social game all game, because you guys know how many times I tried to get them out, and they still kept escaping. I'm fairly certain that the three of them have been in cahoots for a while. I mean, I don't see any other logical reason for them. Well, I mean, I'll get to that later. Sorry, hold on. I do think they've played a very good social game. In terms of comp wins, I mean, they won that POV, they won the first HOH. Besides that, though, I don't I don't see that much going on with Jeremy. That's why, like, I feel like Jeremy's been, I feel like Jeremy has been kept around kind of as, I don't want to say the goat, but like the person that they would win against. You know, I feel like that's why they took Jeremy to the final three. Um, that's my impression of Jeremy. We, you know, I mean, we had our beef during the game, but you know, we kind of made our peace in the last few rounds. I have nothing against them personally, obviously, but I never really had a like a close relationship with them. So I mean, if someone else has more to say about them, then I think they might have a little more insight. But yeah, nothing against them. I don't think I would be voting for them to win, you know, if they were at final two though.
Okay. Then in terms of Jeremy on my end, obviously Jeremy is the person I've been pretty much targeting since the start of jury. What's up, Lake? We're gonna go reverse food order, and we're talking about Jeremy first.
Cool. I just had a ghost pepper.
Good luck with that, sir. So yeah, obviously Jeremy's been the person that I've been publicly like targeting, and I think they've been using that to kind of like say like, hey, I'm being targeted by Jackson, and I think you shouldn't target me because I'm always being targeted by somebody. And I think if that makes sense, and I think they played it really well. Obviously within the slipping out of the block that one round, sorry, Michael. They started early with me. Like as soon as they were nominated, they came straight to me and asked like, hey, this is what deal I could offer you. This is something I think you could really benefit from, and it's something I took. So in terms of talking, in terms of like social strategizing, cutting deals, they were pretty damn good. I think that I clocked this too late, but I think Jeremy and Crispy have had a final two deal for quite a while now. Hence why they're both there. Hence why they stuck by each other's side. And I think by the time I realized it, I was already on the block, renominated and sent out the door. So they've obviously kept their cards close to their chest because they didn't really have to play any. So I think that's under the radar. And I know some people respect that. I also know a lot of people don't respect that at the same time because they're not out front playing. They won the least amount of comps, obviously. So there's some out of the three, they won the least amount of comps. That's really most of what I have to say about Jeremy. That would be Michael then. No, Andrew, sorry. Unless Andrew is not at the...
Is that Andrew's pocket? Oh my god, it won't be Andrew's pocket.
I think so. I know Andrew's still at rugby practice. I don't know if he'll be able to talk. Yeah, Michael, why don't you just go?
Yeah, so as far as Jeremy goes, I know socially they are, you know, they're really good at talking and all that and making like social bonds. And you know, I knew Jeremy before this game, and you know, that social bond is what kept me from targeting them the two times I was HOH. And at a point, I had a plan to actually backdoor Jeremy, but I decided to wait one more round. But beyond that, I just don't see any like strategic gameplay, very few comp wins. I really don't have much to say, which I guess isn't a good thing. Yeah, I kind of am on the same wavelength as Rose, I'd say, as far as Jeremy goes.
All right. So a lot of the, I guess, last couple rounds I was in the game, I spent a lot of my time with my chat with myself, Jeremy, and Crispy. So like I started to clock that those two were going to be working in cahoots with each other. And Jeremy and I started, getting closer as things, as we got down past, I think like final, like my HOH to when I left, Jeremy and I probably had the most talk strategically. And what baffled me the most about Jeremy was their undying need to get Jackson Lamar out. Like it did not like it, and I tried to tell them, I was like, well, God love Jackson, he ain't doing shit. Like there's nothing there's no like reason to do it. But like they were completely blinded by whatever vendetta that was happening. And I think Crispy was playing Jeremy into this, like feeding Jeremy into this idea. So I think Crispy was honestly using Jeremy as his puppet this entire time, because
I
when
could touch on that a little bit later. I think I know what happened there, but sorry.
Yeah. And I knew when it came down to when, I was up and Crispy lied to me, I'm pretty sure Crispy wanted me out of the picture because he saw me getting too close to Jeremy. And he didn't want to lose his puppet. So, I love Jeremy to death. But I guess I can touch on this when we talk about Crispy too, but them and Crispy made the worst move of the season by being so blinded by this Jackson Lamar vendetta that they didn't get rid of Eric at Final Five. So that's my thoughts.
I know Andrew wanted to talk because we skipped over Andrew.
All right, if I randomly start screaming at some point, don't worry about it.
Okay.
No, not y'all. So my whole thing with Jeremy is, we were going against each other for most of the game, but we were still able to have a good social connection. We both kind of understood that neither one of us wanted to work with each other necessarily, but that didn't stop us from talking. As it started to get down to like 8-7, we started becoming very vocal about the fact that we were going against each other to each other. And when Michael went home, I was kind of dejected, obviously. But that round that me and Rose were on the block, Jeremy was the only person that really talked to me about anything. And I really valued that because the people that I was supposedly aligned with for most of the game didn't reach out to me at all, which I thought was kind of shitty. But the fact that Jeremy, they didn't have to do all that. And for all I know, it could be fake. I wouldn't really care in that situation because it was a low moment in the game. So besides that, I know that I deemed Jeremy to be a social threat. For me, social threats are the biggest thing for me in these games, but more than comp beast or strategic beast and all that. So as of now, I would say that Jeremy, of the three, Jeremy probably played the second best social game. I think we all are on the same page as far as who played the best. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
So for me, like, I feel like when I was in the game, like I always like viewed Jeremy as more of a social threat. But and it's weird because I feel like I agree with Andrew in the sense where like social threats are like super like it's like a big deal like to be a social threat, like no one's coming for you, like no one is targeting you. But something about Jeremy's game, I'm not sure I understand. So I'm definitely going to need to hear some answers from them, because like I just feel like, and maybe it's just part of the twist of the whole not like having like the blind votes, I think also like scares people into being just nice to your face no matter what. There's really like, they can tell you that they're gonna vote to keep you, and they like whatever, and you'll never know because we don't know what the vote count is. And I just feel that Jeremy definitely used that to their advantage. And sorry, Topher just walked in, so it distracted me. I think Jeremy definitely hid behind larger comp threats in Crispy. But I don't really know. I'm gonna definitely need to hear more from them. That's where I'm at right now.
Is it my turn? I forgot the boot order. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie to you. Okay. Kind of to go off of what Jen said, I really do need to hear what Jeremy's game was. I remember the most game talk we really had, besides gushing over, Mac, is what we usually did. Jeremy, by the time, me and Mikey were still around, Jeremy wanted me, Mikey versus Crispy Rose, and then wanted to backdoor Jackson, and, gave me the rundown of that. And then I made aware that everyone kind of knew. Jeremy was like, everyone knows what I want to do. So I really need to know, like, the big moves Jeremy made to benefit, I guess, Jeremy. I really don't know that much, but I love Jeremy. Me and Jeremy had a final two like week after Jill left, I'm pretty sure. And I always had good conversations with Jeremy, but yeah, I definitely need to know what Jeremy did in this game.
Yeah, I don't think I really have that much to add about Jeremy. I think everything that everybody has said so far is accurate to my experience with them. I would be interested to know if the lack of comp wins from them was intentional or not, because they're like, obviously Crispy and I were the comp beasts of the beginning of the season, and so I think not winning comps could have been a strategic move. I just want to know if it was from their perspective, you know what I mean? And so I think that while they might not have played like a really powerful like upfront game, I'm interested to know what like the inner machinations were throughout the whole thing, because I think there might be more that we aren't seeing.
Okay. Is there any other like thoughts anybody thought of to add on Jeremy?
I did have one thing I was thinking about. Did anybody, and this is kind of open, did anyone ever notice Jeremy really trying to shift votes? Did Jeremy try to like pull strings in votes? Did they try to get things to go the way they wanted to, or are they kind of like a passenger?
I can speak a little bit to that, at least for my vote and from my perspective. Jeremy seemed like they were interested in keeping me and was helping me take steps to like talk to the right people, figure out what votes I could get. And I think if I understand it correctly, my vote was a tie that had to get broken by Michael. And so Jeremy did, to a certain extent, help me with that. And I don't know what the rest of the house necessarily was thinking, but they helped me a lot during that vote.
I'd also like to add that Jeremy also made me feel like in the me and Mikey vote that Jeremy wanted me to stay, and that they were going around telling people to keep me. The same with the me and Eric vote is what Jeremy said. If that's not the case, it's fine. I still have a lot of respect for Jeremy. They, like I said, I enjoy them being this far in the game just because I like Jeremy as a person. I think that's what Jeremy's good at. Like we've all said, Jeremy's a really good social threat and made people, happy with Jeremy when they went out the door. But I guess I was also told the same thing of Jeremy was pushing for me to stay. So,
but it seems like that's something that Jeremy was good at. It is like keeping the people that they probably knew were going out the door already, keeping them in their good graces and like saving face for these moments so that when we're looking back on the game that they played, we can be like, well, Jeremy treated me well. Maybe that's worth something in my vote. So I think that for sure was definitely intentional on their part.
I do have one more
I can
thing.
say also,
Go on, Rose.
I can say also that when Jeremy and I were on the block right before I got evicted, Jeremy and I were talking while Crispy and Eric were off in their breakout room, and Jeremy did mention to me that they would be rooting for me if they left. So again, like I don't know if that's a strategic move to try to, try to, I don't know, like if I went off the jury, maybe I would remember that and maybe secure a vote for them or what. But that kind of being nice to people as they're going out the door, like when people mention that did remind me of that moment. So I do think that's something to consider too.
Okay. And one thing I actually kind of want to tag them for, kind of flag them for, is when they won the veto, they were obviously calling me to, hey, if I use this veto, you're going to be automatically renowned. I'm telling them, don't use it. They used it. But the plan that they always told me was, yeah, I'm going to use it on Crispy to put you next. That's because Crispy is going to want to vote Eric, and I'm going to vote Eric. None of them voted for Eric, obviously. So I kind of want to know why they kind of lied to me a little bit. Because was it necessary? No, it wasn't necessary. They could just told me that there's nothing I could do. My goose was cooked anyway. Like I would respect that a whole lot more. I just want to know why lying, like maybe trying to make me feel a little bit better to not scramble, maybe. I don't know, but that's just kind of what I want to know. My question, perhaps.
That's something that I kind of wanted to touch on as well when we get to Crispy. But like the thing I hate about when people play these games with the blind voting is how they just consistently lie, which like is like in one way I guess it's a strategy, but like you're playing Big Brother, there's going to be no like hidden immunity idols, there's going to be no there's no way that the vote could be negated. And like I can see maybe early game like how it can be used strategically, and I fully get that. But like late game, like especially at final five, like you're going into Jerry Jackson fresh off that wound. Like I think that it's like calculated short term. It's not calculated long term, and it's not calculated. And that surprised me with Jeremy because it seems like Jeremy's big thing. They made me feel good when I left. Seems like they made Mikey feel good, Jackson feel good to an extent, I guess. They made Rose feel good. They made Lake feel good. They, I guess, maybe made Jen and Andrew feel good. But it seems like Jeremy's whole thing was to make everyone seem positive, have a positive thought of them when they left, regardless of their game. And I feel like at the end of the day, if we're rewarding somebody's game play for a win and we don't know what their actual gameplay was and that they were just nice, is that enough?
Well, I kind of want to say something about that because, like, up until this game, like, I was very much like a social player. Whenever I would make it far into juries, people would be like, Mikey is a social threat and we need to get him out. So I think it speaks to their gameplay that they were able to be this person that was in a lot of like thought of positively by a lot of people on the jury, and they were not taken out. I think obviously both the other two that are in the final three also have that to an extent, but social gameplay is it's hard to quantify. And so like looking back and being able to say, like, obviously people have concrete comp wins. If they made a move, you can add that to their strategic resume. It's hard to quantify a social game like that. So I always try to like weigh that equally to strategic and like competitive gameplay as well.
Jeremy's tricky. It's for damn sure. We want to move
Agreed.
on. Do we feel good with Jeremy? Anyone have anything else they want to add? Party.
I think we covered them pretty well.
All right, Rose, take us away with Crispy.
Well, I have words about Christy. So, obviously, Christy and I, we've been working together since like round 3. I mean, we've been working together for quite a while. Now, when there was a moment near the end where I did kind of blow up at Christy because for 2 reasons. One was the like when Michael was voted out. I was not expecting that. I was fully expecting Jeremy to go. And this was something that was apparently planned behind my back without anyone telling me about it. And then the second thing was Christy renommed me again without telling me about it. I had to hear about it from Eric, honestly. And this was right on the heels of the Michael vote. This was right after I had told him I don't appreciate non-communication. Like if you didn't have time to explain things to me, then at least, give me a heads up so at least I'm prepared, But then when he renommed me, I knew nothing about that until Eric told me, and he didn't even have the courtesy of telling me himself. So when I kind of blew up at Christy a little bit, I had a one-on-one call with him, and he was trying to explain himself. And the way he was explaining it was, he said, in our big alliance of 5, he always felt like his opinion was kind of pushed to the side. And he knew my opinion about putting up Jeremy, and he knew how I felt about that. But he said he was tired of being seen as someone that could be kind of pushed in a certain direction. I mean, which I can understand. I mean, the reason why I put up Eric and then Michael instead of Jackson when I was trying to get Jeremy out was for the very reason that I didn't want to be seen as someone who would just do whatever people wanted me to do. But because they were pushing hard for Jackson to go up then. However, I related to that. I even told him, I said, I feel the same way. I don't want to be seen as someone that people can just tell what to do and then she'll just do it. And so I kind of related to him for that. However, right before the eviction where I went out, Eric said something that I think is very telling. He nominated me and Jeremy, and the reason he gave was that Crispy, he felt, would do what he wanted. And for me, that is extremely telling, because how does that fit in with what Crispy told me about not wanting to be seen as that kind of person? Because Eric basically just blew that image of Crispy out of my mind now. I feel like Crispy might be Eric's pawn, Eric's puppet rather, just kind of doing whatever Eric wants, which is also strengthened by the fact that Crispy and Jeremy had Eric on a silver platter. Like, biggest threat, which apparently they knew, but they did not vote him out. My vote was for Eric to go. Like, if even one of them had voted for Eric, he would have been gone. But again, that was not a very smart move. That was really not a smart move, and I feel like it kind of ruins Crispy's narrative of wanting to be seen as someone who doesn't do what people want him to do, or at least if he is that kind of person, he doesn't do it in a smart way. I think he knew that I wanted Eric out, and or at least he knew that Jackson and I both wanted Eric out, but he still kept him. So I don't, that doesn't paint the prettiest picture of Crispy for me anyway. So yeah, if I have anything else to add, then I'll but that's basically where I stand right now. Like, obviously, if it were between Eric and Crispy, there's no way in hell I'm voting for Crispy to win. Like Eric deserves to win, I think, and I'll get to that when I get to Eric. But yeah, like I mean, I love Christy as a person, but I just feel like he's made he messed up his end game, in my opinion.
Well, and the crispy good news does not start with me. Right. So by the time John, you left. You were my final two, obviously. I decided I needed needed new agency. Before Michael, you left, I kind of was talking with Crispy and like we connected on a couple levels and I saved their ass. One time and I purposely like withheld information that Crispy told me to better Crispy's game to kind of prove, hey, I'm a trustworthy motherfucker. You repays me by stabbing me in the back. Okay, and so obviously I told Crispy that I wanted Eric out before John even left. I told Crispy that I wanted Eric gone, and the answer was always, yep, I'm on it. Like he's on my radar too. He's going to beat everybody. And I keep hearing rumors that Eric always, oh yeah, I think we have Crispy down on lock. Like obviously, okay, I'm being lied to. And it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way when like I was on the block and I was told that I can't beat you in the final two was the reason why I'm sitting here with y'all. And I looked at him cross-eyed and I said, I'm literally sitting next to Eric. I'm literally sitting next to somebody who has more competition wins, who has more strategy than me, who has more alliances than me, who has more of everything, who could talk better than me, who could do anything better than me, who could emote better than me, he could laugh better than me, he could do everything better than me, yet you're voting me out. Because you want to be good with him, good with the alliance? Is this some cookout type bullshit? I don't know. And like I told him, hey, if you get rid of me, and maybe you're planning on getting rid of Eric at 4 instead of Rose, you're giving Eric, who's been the competition superstar at this point, like Crispy's done great things too, but he's did it like kind of earlier to mid part of the game. So Crispy kind of hasn't had like the same comp prowess as he used to. Eric is kind of fresh still, I think. And it proved it because I told him, hey, if Eric stays, he gets 2 chances to save himself. Not only did he win at the first opportunity, he won at the second opportunity just for a double tap. And I don't understand why he kept me, and he lied when he said he wanted Eric out, and when push comes to shove, like obviously he was a lot tighter with Eric. I get it, but at the same time, he's done a lot of unnecessary lying, and he is a Gryffindor, but he trusts fucking Tom Riddle himself, who doesn't give 3 shits about him. And I just don't understand why Crispy would do that. I think that was more of a Crispy blunder than a Jeremy blunder getting rid of me. I really do. Jeremy obviously just has a hate boner for me. Crispy was my ally and my only person I had. I was bringing Crispy to the end no matter what. Hate boner. So I think that's more of a Crispy blunder than a Jeremy blunder. Worst move of the season. I have so much more to say, but I'm gonna listen.
If Andrew's not good, I'll go. Okay, I'll just go. So with Crispy, I kind of feel like one of you two said it like in the beginning, I feel like he was playing a really good game. Like socially, I felt really good with him. We pulled in, as far as I know, I mean, it was a kind of a joint effort, but he was a big part in pulling in our 5-person alliance, round 2, end of round 2, beginning of round 3. He was winning comps. He had good ideas. And then it just seemed like at the very end of the pre-jury phase about eviction, the triple eviction night, he started to get sloppy and kind of a little snaky too. Which isn't the sneaky part's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you rub people the wrong way, are they going to vote for you? You know what I mean? A big part of that too, John, is what you told me about when I got out, how he came to you with those 3 names. saying that we wanted to get you out and all this stuff. And like, so like coming back into this game, I could never like fully trust him. And it just, for me, he felt a bit weaselly at times. And some of his decisions to me just didn't really make sense. So for him, I kind of need to hear a little some explanations. I would say for me, I think there's more of a chance I vote for him over Jeremy, but not by much. Between the two of them, it really would probably come down to what they have to say. And that's all.
So my turn. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Crispy. So if you were to have talked to me pre-Michael boot, actually no, that's not true. It went back farther because there were always these little moments, and I think Rose, I think Michael, pretty much anyone can attest to this. There would be moments where it's like, what the hell's Crispy doing? As far as he would the triple eviction night, where he went to all of us and said, let's save Casey. And we're all sitting there like, well, we all want Casey gone. And I think he skipped something and he noms her the second time or something. I can't remember. Like I said, I'm in practice, so like my notes aren't in front of me. But I just remember talking to everyone. It's like, why is he making this so complicated when everyone in the house, it seems like, wants Casey gone in this situation? Then there would be moments where we'd be talking and he would say very confusing things. Oh yes, we should definitely think about getting rid of Jeremy like now. It's like, okay, cool. I'm glad people are getting on board with this. And then something like, oh, maybe we should save Jeremy for later. It's like, Crispy, if we're all working together in this, which I thought we were, why do you continue to save this person? Besides that, I think that he did really well in comps, obviously, but I don't put much stock into that. Strategy wise, he was pretty vocal in our 5-person alliance. I will say that. I won't say that he was a passenger or a driver. It was just more of a, if he had a good idea, he would put it out there. I think people appreciated it, at least on my end. I did. I felt comfortable talking to him about a lot of stuff. Obviously the round that Michael went home, he had his whole big apology tour with me, and yes, I was very passive aggressive with him, and I probably should apologize to that for that. But I would say that as of right now, in terms of social game, I would say that he'd be third for me, and I hope that changes because I really like the guy, and I want to give him a fair shot on Friday. So I'm hoping that changes, like something changes on Friday to make me potentially want to vote for him. But as of now, not really.
All right. I'm gonna go way back to the very first round. So backstory for Crispy and I. Crispy and I never really like knew each other that well. However, we both share a mutual BFF in Zoe. So Zoe kind of like was like in my project, like, you need to get friends with Crispy so that you guys can just whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So Crispy and I like became close, got closer, and within literally the first day, I got added into alliance of myself, Crispy, Jason, and Casey. Which like, and Crispy always was like, you and I were gonna go really far and whatnot. And eventually then Jeremy gets added in as well. So it comes as like 5% thing. We get to, Crispy's first HOH, he kind of, was really hesitant on doing things. And I thought, oh, it's just because it's an early HOH. Well, we get to the triple when he wins halfway through, and he did not tell us at all what he was doing. And I probably, if you go back and watch the clip when he says he's renomming Casey, my jaw was on the floor because as far as I was concerned, like I heard people wanted Casey out. I'm like, I wasn't like against getting rid of Casey, but like as far as I was concerned, Crispy was like, I swear to God, I'm never getting rid of Casey. Like there's nothing I'm gonna do, like nothing, whatever. And this probably should have been my first red flag with Crispy. But it wasn't. I figured, oh, he's probably just peer pressured. Whatever. He seems like somebody who can probably get peer pressured. Love you, Crispy. I know you're gonna watch this after the season. I know you're that kind of person. So I'm gonna say this right now. So I just kind of went along with it. And then Christy comes to me later and says, oh, well, the reason I did that was because Andrew, Michael, and Casey all wanted you backdoored. So I was like, what, like, what's the point? What, I don't know what's happening here. Like, I immediately called like red flags on this. I was like, I don't know what you're trying to do. But at this point, I was like, Jason and Casey had just gone. And from my vantage point, Crispy was kind of like up a creek without a paddle. I had no idea about the 5. I had no idea about any of that. So I was like, whatever, I'll hold on to it. But Crispy just continuously blew smoke up my ass until the night I went home. Like Crispy just kept saying, oh, like you're not going home 100%, whatever. And then I want to say maybe 2 hours before I was supposed to go home, he messages me and goes, oh, I heard Jackson's actually flipping on you. Jackson's the one that's going to send you home. The entire time, Crispy was going to send me home. And like, this is after like, I talked Crispy through like really like deep bond things that I thought even at the base level, if you're going to tell me that you're sending me home on a game level, you at least have the decency to do that. And like he didn't at all. And it made me go off. Jackson and I went on a very deep call the night of my rampage because I was pissed and I took it out on Jackson when Crispy's really the one like driving a wedge between me and at that point probably my only real ally in the game when I'm already going home. Like there's no point in it. So like Crispy's moves this game, and it seems as it goes on, he kept doing it. He could have done the same moves just without like a level of like shadiness. He could have played the same game and done these same moves. And I feel like he burnt so many bridges and it does not make any sense to me. Like from a game standpoint, if this was a game where there was no jury, and it was the Hunger Games and we were all dead, that's one thing. I just think he burned a lot of bridges. And if Eric and if Jeremy and Crispy are the final 2, I'm torn between them. I'm making them lip sync. It's gonna happen. They're gonna find out their lip sync song in the moment. They're not gonna know beforehand. I don't care. I'm not exactly. I love Crispy as a person, but in game related thing, I'm not the happiest with him, and I feel like I'm glad to know that I'm not the only person thinking this. But yeah, that's probably my piece on Crispy. Love you, Crispy, in the future. But yeah,
I really want to see that lip sync like really bad. Like really bad. For me with Crispy, I never really had much of a game relationship with him. I feel like most, if not all of our conversations, not all of them, but like most of our conversations were like on a personal level. And like, even I don't necessarily feel burned by him the way that some of you guys do. And I do see like how he's been playing strategically. And I think even from the beginning, like he obviously slayed in the comps and like now learning how he's in all these alliances and stuff like that. And I just wasn't a part of any of them. I respect it. And then even so, like it, like I've always felt like there was never anything against me. It's just we were never on the same like wavelength. And even like the night that I was evicted, like it was him and I on the block, and he was like, no matter what happens, like blah blah blah, like love you. And it was like really sweet, and I really liked that because like he didn't even have to really go out of his way to like say anything to me because like he didn't have to campaign to me for a vote, but he still wanted to make sure that like, you know, that I'm okay. So like I appreciated that, but other than that, I've just kind of been having to like relay like from you guys, like hear from you guys what you guys' perspective of him is, because I really don't have much, just because I didn't really play the game with him that much. So that's really all I have for Crispy.
Oh, Crispy. I don't really have much to say. Me and Crispy just did not talk that much. I did want to work with Crispy. You know, things got dicey. I couldn't. I don't know. I respect the comp beast Crispy that was at the early start of the game. I'm just pretty much going off of everything else that everyone has been saying after I got out. Because that's pretty much what I'm doing with Jeremy. Like that's pretty much what I'm doing with Crispy and Jeremy. Not Eric. But I just don't have much to say about Crispy. I just need to hear what Crispy was doing in this game.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that's been said. Seems like Crispy was playing this game kind of emotionally rather than like really thinking about the decisions that he was making. And I feel like that sometimes led him to make decisions that didn't necessarily benefit him. Like, and those decisions were probably made quickly, so he burned some bridges that he maybe didn't have to. And so like I think that he tried, but it didn't all, like, not all of the jokes landed. You know, it wasn't a complete blowout, but he kind of like, he was strong at the front and then it petered out pretty quickly from what it seems towards the end, though he was able to make it to the final three, so it can't fault him for that. But mine and Crispy's relationship was strained in the pre-jury phase. But when it, like, before my eviction, he was like, yeah, like, I want to work with you, yada yada. I know we've been at each other's throats. I just don't know how true that is. I don't know if he was one of the people that voted to save me or not. And I'd be interested to know where he stood on that, because I think if, depending on his answer, that changes how I view his game. So yeah, I guess I'm still in the boat of, I need to hear about his game from him.
Okay, I think that's everybody's obviously got something to say. Now's the time to say something about Crispy if you guys thought of it.
I'll add something, like, especially after, like, I feel like hearing, like, I mean, maybe it's this way just in general since we're like the earlier jurors, but like myself and Lake and Mikey, like, Crispy didn't want us in the game, so we weren't in the game. And he's in the end with people that he wants to be with. So I think that's worth noting. But I think
I agree with Jen on that one.
I think it's also that way for like the other people too, but like it just kind of came to me like as Lake was talking.
And it's also risky too that he kind of like played that so blatantly to the three of you, considering you're a third of the jury. Like that's like I don't think he thought through jury management. I think he thought straight, I'm gonna cut bitches to get to the end. I think it's also possible he didn't think he was gonna get to the end. So I don't think he really thought that his jury management was actually going to have to pay off.
That's why I said, like, I think he was playing an emotional game rather than like an intelligent game, because he was just kind of making these decisions and not really thinking about the consequences of all of them. And so I think that's kind of why we're all sitting here being like, what do we do with Crispy? He played a fine game on paper, but like it doesn't seem like any of us are dying to vote for him.
I will say though, I do appreciate someone playing hard, even if it is messy. I much more appreciate that than someone getting to the end and like, winning just because they were okay. Like, you know what I mean? So as far as Crispy goes, I really do appreciate that. I'm sure as a viewer, if this was made into a television show, he would be entertaining us all to watch each week. So I think that's bonus points for him in my book.
One thing I will say about Crispy, and I kind of thought about it when Jen said like, he's at the end with people he wanted to be at the end. Sure, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know what Eric's doing. I mean, unless there's some like final two between the three of them with Eric that I don't know about, I'm pretty sure Crispy wanted Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy's there. I think he had better options than Eric, per se, to make it to the end. Rose, I don't know what you would do if you were there with Jeremy and Crispy. I was taking Crispy to the end if it was between those two. And I've told him since the start we've been talking together. And he knows that and he understands that Jeremy and myself were taking him to the final two, to the final seats. He doesn't know what Eric's doing. And even if Eric takes Crispy to the end, Crispy's sitting next to Eric. Crispy could have been sitting next to a me or a Rose, which Rose, I love you, but we are both not Eric. We're obviously about to get to him, but I think he had so many better ways to sketch out the end game for himself. And maybe I'm a little bitter, perhaps. Maybe he had even a better option with that war, but I just don't understand why Eric is there. And when he had the opportunity to kill him twice.
I just want to like ask a general question because I don't know if we touched on it for Jeremy, but I'm definitely interested for knowing this for Crispy and Jeremy. Who do we think each of them takes to the final if they win the final HOH?
Each other.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm not completely convinced. I think knowing Crispy, he got himself to a final two, potentially with 2 final two deals. And I think that, Crispy saved Eric a couple times in this game. Is he really underestimating Eric's game? Does he think he can take Eric's game? I would hope he takes Jeremy with him to the end. But I'm not 100% sure that he would.
I mean, he could have set it up that if he doesn't win it, they each take him.
That's what I think I think he's probably going to try to throw it, to be completely honest with you. Which I think would be really funny if Eric won and cut Crispy if that was the case. But
I don't think he could afford to throw it then.
I don't know. I really want to see what's going to happen, but I think he definitely set him up with this final three. I think he had a big hand in this being the final three to benefit him, which I will give that to him. But the problem is, I don't know if at the end it was the best for him to win the game. It was the best to get him to final two, but not to win. And that's the big question mark for me with Crispy.
I will add the funny part of if the question of if this is the final three Eric wanted, or this is the final three Jeremy or Crispy wanted back when I was around, I would have never said, yes, this is the final three either of them wanted. Like, obviously, maybe Jeremy and Crispy wanted each other in final three, but as far as I knew, Eric didn't want Jeremy and Crispy in final three. Jeremy and Crispy didn't want Eric in final three, as far as I knew. So I think it's just funny how final three formed now.
Let's talk about the king, Rose.
The only thing I have to say about Eric. Like, it's someone who is very obviously a huge threat, is on the block at final 5 and still moves on. he deserves to win. I mean, he just deserves to win at that point. Like that's, I mean, Eric and I, we've been working together, like I said, for a long time, since round three. Um, if anyone has control over Crispy especially, then I think it's Eric. I 100% think it's Eric. And you know what? More power to Eric for that, because it's worked for him this entire game. I mean, like back when uh who was it on the block before with Eric? It was the before Final Five, that other time he was on the block.
With Lake.
Lake.
Or
With
with
Lake, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, with Lake. Like back then, I could understand those of us who were in Eric's alliances. Like I can understand us keeping Eric at that point because it was still mid game or so, and you know we were still kind of, we needed to keep the alliances together at that point. But getting to Final Five and having the chance to get rid of him and he still stays, I mean, like just for that alone, Eric gets my vote. You know, if he's at Final Two, which I think he will be, because clearly he's either made some big promises or he's done some serious talking behind the scenes to both Jeremy and Christy to to ensure that he gets to the final three. And then not to mention the comp wins, like in my opinion, making a lot of good moves, you know. Like I think personally, I think if Eric makes it to final two, then that's it. Like his vote with me is sealed. You know.
When I got into the jury, I read a message from the Buckster saying that I wish I could talk as well as Eric can. And boy, howdy, that sums up his game really well. And that doesn't even sum up his entire game. Can you guys hear me? I think I might be a little robotic. Am I good? I'm good? Okay. So he could talk his way out of any kind of situation. He was the original target for the Lake and Eric vote. Well, the Lake for the Lake vote, but then he switched it. I don't know exactly what happened there. He Lake went when Eric was kind of at that point Eric was like the target, like kind of the front runner of the so far there, and he still wasn't targeted afterwards. Like I didn't get it. I talked to a lot of people and I still just didn't get it. So at that point, I told John, I told Andrew, I even told Rose and Crispy, all like, hey, I think Eric's kind of front running. I think we have to do something sooner rather than later, or else we're gonna pay for it. And here we are paying for it out of pocket. And not only that, like Eric got information that I thought was kind of locked down. Like he came to me saying, hey, are you targeting me? I go, yes, because you were targeting me. But I was like, that's not the point. How'd you know? He's like, oh, Andrew told me. And Andrew wanted Eric gone after Jeremy. And I'm kind of left kind of bewildered. Like, how did he convince Andrew, who was leaving that week, to to get information on me? And now he hates me. And originally Eric was supposed to be targeting me. Like, how am I the bad guy when Eric was targeting me originally? When Eric was the front runner, I can't just say that to him. And of course, his competition wins are really impressive. Like I said, he had 2 outs because I think if he was on the block, I think he actually would have gone home against maybe Crispy and maybe Jeremy. I know some of you might disagree with that. I think Jeremy actually does go at 4 there. I think Rose, I think you could have gone to 3, maybe except for Jeremy. Like I think Crispy would have kept you against Eric. And he's obviously still there. He had 2 outs to win. He did it. I had my last conversation with Jeremy about game was like that same one I just had where we were talking about, hey, we're targeting each other. He turned it around on me where I'm stumbling on my words, which is hard. I always stumble on my words, but he made me look like an idiot. Like, why would you trust Jeremy? Why would you put your word in with Andrew? Why would you want to target me when I've been trying to defend you? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, you got me there. Like he stripped me down naked and pickpocketed me, and I had nothing to do about that. And I think that just goes to show like how good of a talker he is, and how good he probably like. This is my last point. I don't know how many games Eric has played. I think this would be his second or third. Someone could correct me on that or a little bit later. All I know is that he won his first game, like handily won his first game. I heard, and he's on his way to do that again. And I think he's just like literally one of the best players this community is about to see. Maybe he's not there now, but I think he's on his way. Like I think like he's literally about to dominate the community. I really think that. And that's all.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, Eric, me and him were super, super close from day 2 of this game. And yeah, I mean, I think he had the social wits, the strategy of it all, the comp wins. I think a good thing that I'm thinking of right now is like if Crispy or Jeremy sit in the final 2, like either against Eric or against each other, they're going to embellish their game. They're going to buff it up. Eric is not going to have to do that, and I think that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I Rose Jackson, you said a lot of what I wanted to say, really. So I'll let you guys talk.
Andrew? Okay. I'm gonna tell you about how stupid I am. So I did want Eric out initially when he went up, and it's true. I wanted him gone. Like, didn't trust him, didn't whatever. Lake's reaction to him going up. This is okay. I'm gonna start this from my vantage point now, and I'm gonna go to what I think actually happened. So my vantage point from then was that Lake's reaction had turned off a lot of people, and a lot of people came to me saying, well, I just want Lake out. And I couldn't do at that point. It was like, do I piss off a majority of the house now by not going along with them? Or do I still gun for Eric? Eric stays. Now Eric's fully on my ass. So I kind of had to go along with what they wanted. My HOH literally, that's a whole other thing. Worst fucking thing in the entire season. I'm very aware. But he convinced me to strike a deal with him that we wouldn't go after each other. And I fucking believed it. He played me so hard, and I sat there like, you know what? It's fine. He wouldn't go after me. And then he got rid of me on his next HOH. Like, he's so good at talking. And it's so ridiculous how he could literally, I could tell him straight to his face, I want you out of this game. And then the next day he can convince me to be like, I can recover from this, and he'll actually want to work with me. And the fact that he got me to believe that, I still am going to say hands down, no matter how many games I play in this community, how many games I host, how many whatever I do in this community left, Eric will hands down be one of, if not the greatest org players I've ever seen in my life. He's so fucking good. Like, it's ridiculous. And he has like the most infectious laugh. I don't know if anyone else noticed this. I'm fucking obsessed with his laugh. Like, it's so good. I love Eric. I love him to death. I will say, I did think at points he kind of, the one notch I could hit on his game, which is like the smallest notch, is that you could start to tell when you weren't as beneficial to his game anymore and you were on your way out, because his level of how, like, the discussions you had with him decreased significantly. Like, as soon as I was hook, line, and sinker out the door, he stopped talking to me. And I know he told the whole house that I was refusing to talk to him, but he wasn't talking to me. He wouldn't talk to me the whole day. So like, I can see how that may have backfired in his face, but still, to the fact that it never did, just shows you how good this all was. Also, I think with the Lake vote, Lake was honestly screwed, because if that 5-person alliance was as strong as it was, they had the numbers to take Lake out no matter what. Even if we wanted, it would have been 4-3 and Lake would have been gone. It didn't matter. So I played directly into their hand on that. So I think that's truly what happened with your vote, Lake, regardless of anything. I think that's fully what happened. Yeah. Hit a couple of birds with one stone with that.
Okay, so much like I said with Crispy, there were moments in the game where I would lose trust in Eric because of things that other people were telling me, and or just our conversations we would have. I think I went to Rose and Michael on multiple occasions and said, I feel like Eric's being shady about something. And then to what Buckley just said, I would go talk to Eric and he would convince me that it was false. And he was, as a person that prides himself on being good with words, Eric is amazing when it comes to that. There were several times where I would tell Rose, hey, we should probably at least think about this. And, it never came to fruition. And then what was the most telling part? I don't remember who said it, but yes, I wanted to get Eric out. That's what it was. I went to Rose and we started talking about in-game goals. And I said, I'd rather get Eric out at 5 because I saw him as a social threat. And that's been my whole thing every time we've talked tonight, social threats. And I saw Eric as the biggest social threat in the game. I saw him as the biggest social threat from probably round 3 on. One of the reasons I wanted to align with him is to keep, social threat shields around me, and he was the biggest one. When Buckley wanted him gone, I probably should have just hopped on board, but I was so gung ho about this alliance. So I would say that I would agree with everyone so far. I think that Eric played the best social game. I think that because of that, it allowed him to play a strategic game. And then, the comp wins speak for themselves. I'm hoping that it's not as cut and dry as everyone's voting for Eric. I hope that we do give if he's there, we give people a chance to defend their cases, because there's a lot of stuff that we don't see. There's a lot of stuff that we've forgotten tonight. But I would say that, yeah, as of right now, I feel like that's where I'm leaning. But that could change.
I would like to clarify, if Eric's in the final 2, there still will be a lip sync. It does not matter. There will be a lip sync, whether or not I'm sold or not.
Good. I want a lip sync. I'll be very disappointed if there's no lip sync. I really don't have too much to add. In the beginning of this game, I thought that Eric was like my best friend. Like all of y'all have been saying, like he knows what he's doing, as everyone, like just repeating what everyone else is saying. But to piggyback off of what John said, like once he doesn't need you anymore, it's like bye. And that's how it was. So that's really all I have to say. And I mean, I respect it. And I've been like a huge fan of him since I have been in the jury. So rooting for him still.
Eric, I mean, come on, y'all. Come on. I think John Buckley has been waiting for this moment forever for me to just talk about Eric. John Buckley knows I could go on for hours about Eric, but I'll be short about it. I really will. The reason I respect Eric so much, and this is a double-edged sword because I'll get into it. It is no secret that work kicked my ass this season. I was working every day, barely could call people. I had to pull a little pre-jury Andrew and send voice memos. And it was bad. But then there was Eric, who I'd get off call with, and I'd see that we had called for 5 hours every single day. And Eric was very nice to me. And personally, we grew a bond, and I'm seeing on this roundtable that a lot of people felt that way. I felt like me and Eric were besties for the resties, and everyone else felt that way. And when John said that people wanted me out, when John won HOH, I thought I was safe because I wanted to work with John. I guess I wasn't clear about that because I wasn't as active enough. It's fine. But when I went up, people were telling me, John fucked up with this HOH. This doesn't make sense. Why did John put you up? And I was defeated at that point because, I was working unbelievable hours. I had just been nominated twice in the span of a week. I thought I was safe this week. And, people were playing that. And once again, double-edged sword. If it's true that Eric tried to flip the vote on me, on the me and Mikey vote, then, that's as poopy as other things. But if it's not, then it still stands that Eric was one of few that still cared for me and, really wanted me here and always had a really good connection with me. I knew he was killing it from the time I went out, from the time I was in. When Jake was still here, it was me, Jake, and Eric. And then Jill, for some reason, didn't blow that up, or did. I still don't know. But there was that whole thing. And then Jackson was a part of it. And then me and Eric grew together out of it. And then we bonded over it. I love Eric. Eric is amazing. His cute little waves to me every time we hung up on call. He would wave so aggressively, but I just want to look at it the whole time. I don't know. But it was just a good time to be around him. And his game, I respect the fuck out of it. I really do. I think he deserves to win this game, no matter who he's against. I think the only flaw is I still don't understand why he didn't, or why he, I forgot how it went. If he either used veto or didn't use veto at Final Five. I forgot. I have not paid attention to this game. I'm so sorry. But that could be the only flaw. I still love him. I think he deserves to win this game. I really hope he's in the final two. And yeah.
I think it was when he didn't use the veto at Final Four, which caused Crispy to send home Rose.
Right, because if he used veto, it would have been Jeremy and Crispy, right?
Yeah, that was I guess now I'm gonna retract. I'm still a little confused about that, which maybe hopefully someone can get an answer out of him. I have a feeling we're all gonna ask the same questions. I feel like we need to coordinate as to who's gonna ask what.
I think he definitely saw Rose as this, the other big threat of the game. So he took her out. I guarantee you that's what he was thinking.
I'm sure that's probably what he was thinking too.
I will say before Mikey speaks, in my opinion, the other winner besides Eric left at 4. Rose killed it. She did. That was queen. She was munching up. Before, I'll be honest with you, Rose, I thought you were just there. I thought you were just there. And then time goes on. I'm like, holy shit, Rose, I want Rose to win this goddamn game. I really do. And Rose, we barely talked. And I wanted you to win so bad. So it wasn't off social. It was off of respect and strategic and just how well you played. But, I guess Eric did that. I don't know.
Can't wait for Rose to win All-Stars. I'm just saying.
Lake, remind me, I have to ask you something very important. But, okay, Mikey, sorry. You want to go?
That's okay. All I have to say about Eric is that pre-jury, his first HOH, he nominated me. I was able to stay, but then after that, he was able to convince me that he was somebody that wanted to keep me around and that I should want to keep around as well. And at that point, going into like then when I won HOH, after that, he built the relationship between us to a point where I didn't nominate him that week. And I could have had a very easy nom set in Eric and Crispy, but I didn't do that. And so I think that speaks to the fact that he played this game the whole time. He very much like knew what he needed to do, got it done, and did it gracefully too. Like I think Eric kind of played the game that Crispy thinks he's playing.
Okay. Mikey, are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done. I do also. I'm interested to know who we think Eric will bring to the final.
Oh, I have no idea.
I think Jeremy.
Yeah. I would only assume. I mean,
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't think
Okay.
Eric doesn't strike me. Sorry, because Eric doesn't strike me as somebody that would take like a risk like that. Eric's gonna go for the jugular no matter what. I mean, he's been doing it for how long now? I think it
The
would.
entire game. But okay, Lake, I have a very important question that I've always wondered and whatnot. Do you remember the call that you, me, and Eric had, where you basically said like, "Hey, Jeremy threw your name out," and it was like after triple eviction, before the first jury HOH happened, before Michael came back in the game. Do you remember that call?
uh-huh.
Was that all true?
What I was told by
Did
Jeremy,
Jeremy actually throw my name out?
what I was told by Jeremy was if Jeremy were to win HOH around that time, like if it was Jeremy instead of John,
Okay.
noms would have been Andrew Rose and you would have been backdoor.
Do you know why they said that?
I can verify Jeremy also has told me that same nom set. I can't
Yeah.
remember. It was all after like post triple too, which would match up
Okay.
with this timeline.
I'm very certain that it is 100% true that Jeremy wanted you out at that time. I don't know if that still was true after I left. But
Okay, because you also said Jen, you also were a part of that conversation of some kind. Like Lake told me that Jen was a part of that conversation a little bit.
right, so it was me, Jeremy, and Jen, and I named it the E Squad. And it was a joke off the J Squad. But Jen was there, and Jeremy did say about backdooring you.
Okay. I asked because Jeremy basically said that none of that happened. They heard that that I was targeting them originally, which was not the case. And I thought, like, what if Eric did that to get both of our favors? Because that would have been ridiculous. Because if like that was all fabricated, then Eric's like God, basically, is where I was gonna go with. But okay.
I will add one more.
Jeremy just lied to me.
I will add one more thing in support of Eric, kind of to add what I was saying. Like no one, John, I don't know who you told that you were going to nominate me and Eric before we got nominated, but the only person to tell me was Eric, and everyone was acting like I wasn't going to get nommed. So that's just like everyone knows. If I see Eric there, I vote Eric to win. Because Eric was really the only one giving me information.
And like, I don't understand why people like were not telling you that, because it's not like it was a big secret. Like, you were gonna find out even if you didn't know in like 2 hours. Like,
it like add with the whole like people telling me you fucked up with your HOH and stuff. Like, I just think it was like a on you. I don't know. I don't know it was a mess.
I also love how people, I mean, my HOH fucked up when Eric didn't leave. I don't see how my HOH was fucked up when I put up obviously the front runner of the game at Final 10. And he took that, flipped it, saved himself, or threw a 5-person. And now probably, I mean, definitely played the most dominant Big Brother game I've ever seen. Like in an org. Like, he's not Derek level or like Dan Giesling. Like, he's in that echelon. He's up there.
The way when you said Derek, I thought you meant Derek F. I'm so sorry.
No. Oh, no. He at least watched Big Brother before playing it.
I will
Uh,
say this to everyone. I once again apologize, of course, if I was rubbed people the wrong way. Of course, when John put me up, it defeated me. John, I'm not saying this to, like, make you feel like shit or anything. It was just because of work and everything and being non multiple times. It's just I should have went better about it, but of course I didn't. I do think I would have if I didn't have a job, but I did, and I'm sorry to everyone I was aggressive towards.
And I took everything too personally too, so I want to apologize to you too. I got my Jackson. Stop looking at that fucking face. I do have a heart. God damn it. It's 5 hours away. I will come up there. I will come up there and whoop your ass. But no, like it's at the end of the day, it's a game. We all just need to take a fucking chill pill, and I think we're all good. We'll be fine. We'll be okay.
Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day.
Just take pointers from me and be the first eliminated juror, so you don't have to deal with any drama. You just get to sit back and watch it all happen.
I am back. I have my crown back of being like a early jury boot. So like I was Jen before Jen was Jen. Jen came in and took my title, so I'm getting it back from her.
I will say a positive that came out of this, I guess, funny. Of course, chat history is not on for jury chat. The wars me and John had between Eric were so funny. It was more funny than anything, and I really wish chat history was on because it's hilarious to look at. It really is.
I got so over it. I was like, I can like literally the whole time, like Eric's obviously playing the best game. I just don't want to hear people praising Eric right now because he just got rid of me. And all he would do, I would say one thing. I'd be like, Rose is killing it. Eric King. Eric everything. Will give my children to Eric. Will do this. And I'm literally like, I'm gonna kill him. I would go to my prod chat, be like, I'm gonna kill him. John
would be like, I think Rose is playing really good. And I was like, you know who else is playing really good? Eric.
And the whole time I was just sitting there with my popcorn, like.
Or it would be like, I would say something like, oh, I'm going to work today. You know who else going to work? Eric.
Okay, guys. So it sounds like we've had some very productive conversation here tonight. So obviously I think it was mentioned if you guys want to discuss in the chat what your questions might be for the final 3, you can do so. If there's anything else anybody wants to say before we cut this, is there any other major points? Michael?
I would just like to say.
I've been trying to say this for the last like 5 minutes. Another point I thought about, Eric, before we completely leave that is, so when I nominated you, Jen, I actually wasn't necessarily targeting you. I did actually kind of want to backdoor Jeremy. I was so 50-50 on it, and I had that veto, and I actually was about to pull you off. And Eric, in the end, told me not to. And I actually now kind of thinking about it, think he had the foresight to drag Jeremy to the end. So
Damn it,
just another point to Eric. So
Eric's just really good.
yeah.
Michael, this game will be different if we actually talked.
Yeah.
I promise
Things
you.
that every juror always says. This game would have been so different.
No, but actually, we were on the same side and we didn't know it.
Yeah.
I will add this to Jeremy's strategic side of the game. Once again, this is more funny than anything because my only thing is humor. Me and Jeremy had a call one time, and Jeremy said the funniest thing to me. Jeremy was like, I watched the way Eric is on calls, and this was like early, like before Mikey, I think before Jill got out. And Jeremy was like, just the way Eric just sits in silence and looks at everyone. I know Eric's doing something. And Jeremy was woke about that. Jeremy really was. I will say that.
On that same note, actually, Eric, and this was like pre-jury, was just like, yeah, you ever notice how much expression Jeremy gives, like whenever someone says something or like, and I was like, yeah, you're right.
Okay. So as I said, if you guys want to discuss questions in the jury chat, you're more than welcome to. We will get an official time for the finale sometime soon. So I will let you guys know that as soon as we can. On finale night, we will go in the order that you were evicted. Each juror will get 7 minutes to do whatever they choose. The final 2 will each have 7 minutes to give their openings. Then you guys will each get your 7 minutes, and then they will have 2 minutes for closing. So do with that time what you wish. This is your guys' finale. You get to decide the winner who you want to represent your season of 1984. I say this every season. Choose who you want to represent your season. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. So I'm going to cut this